Hello, it's tutorial time. Today I want to show you how to dial in a massive rhythm guitar sound if you're the only guitar player in your band. As with all my tutorials, because of the better visualization, I do all my stuff exclusively in Xedit, but you should be able to adjust it to your analog gear. And there are a couple of solutions depending on the money you've got, and well, yeah, we're talking a massive sound and you're one guitar player, you want to sound like two guitar players, so you do need gear for two guitar players. But let me explain in the single chain. First of all, we need an input, of course. So here we have. Then we need an output. Okay. There we go. So we have sound. Perfect. So let's start with the least amount of gear that you probably have. You have one amp, one cab. Okay, let's dial it in. Amp and a cab. And for the sake of the cab, we go again with the Jens Bohren IRs and let's use the Fart Me Down. Where is it? Here. Let's go with Fart Me Down. So, for an amp, let's go, I've already pre-dialed it in the USA Elite Mid-Gain Bright, which is basically a Mark IV, but you could use basically any amp you want. Okay, we have sound, and we have to dial in the amp so that it sounds good, and this doesn't sound good. You need to know your amp. I, for instance, know, thanks to Lee and Todd by the way, how to dial in a Mesa Mark IV series to sound good. We have to zero bass, zero mid, crank treble, crank overdrive, and do some bit with the outboard, EQ. This should do. And we need a boost. This could be your pedal or you increasing the gain pedal, the gain knob on your amp. I just, to keep it simple, use the internal input boost. It's the grinder. Okay, so here's my sound. So, this is my sound, but I'm just one guitar player, I want to sound like two, so I have to do a little bit of panning, and the most cost-effective way would be to actually use two cabinets. So let's activate another cabinet, choose another IR, we chose Fart Me Down 1, so let's choose Fart Me Down 2. Okay. Now connect it. See how we sound. So this would be the case when one guitar player playing with two cabinets. Since you want to mimic two guitar players, you have to spread your cabinets, so one to the left, one to the right. In the rehearsal room you do this by positioning the cabs in different sides of the room, and here we do it by simply turn the balance. So this one goes left and this one goes right, fully. Okay, Now, another little trick, you need more money, is if you're doing dual amp setup. So that would mean that you have another amp. And let's do this quickly. Let's disconnect this. Let's add another amp. You could basically use any amp you want. For the sake of this video, oh well, maybe let's connect here. We're for the sake of this video, we're using the Solo 100 lead, which is basically a Soldano. And yet again, sounds different. Now we have to dial in the Soldano so that it sounds good. And I'm not this familiar with Soldanos, but I suppose just give it a boost. Okay, now this setup has two independent sounds on each side of the speaker or each side of the room for this matter, and this was actually the setup that I used for the Nemesis process, where I was the only guitar player until the former guitar player left the band. So yeah, this sounds good, especially in a live situation. You have two different sounds, not exactly the same sounds, and the more different the sounds are, the better. So there's one additional little trick that you can do, because you have two different setups, two different sounds, but you're still using the same guitar and you're playing at the exact same time. Therefore, and there is a pedal for this, I'm pretty sure there is, but all modulars or multi-effects have a delay, and you need a delay for this instance, and we use the 10-tap delay because we want to set it this way, in a very specific way. And this means we have to set so the number of repeats or the number of taps, we just want one repeat. Just one. So the delay time has to be very short. Let's do 20 milliseconds. Now the decay, if you have a decay, it has to be 0. And we want the mix to be full, so no original signal is coming through. So, and see where I put the 10-tap delay in. Here is my guitar, and then there is some kind of splitter, and the secondary amp just gets the wet signal with the delay repeat, and my primary amp gets my original signal. So everything I play comes through this second amp with a 20 millisecond delay. You can play around with this milliseconds, however, more than 20 seconds will sound kind of odd. You can try 15 or 10 or even less. Just leave it here with 20. So let's hear how this sounds. Yeah, sounds way better. A little quick comparison. As soon as I activate the 10-tap, the sound spreads, it gets wider. We can emphasize this effect, although I didn't use this at all, but you could use a pitch effect, and it would be a detune. Well, we don't need the second detune. Mix full again, And now let's find out. And there you have it. This is basically the way how I would dial in a massive rhythm guitar tone when I'm the only guitar player in the band and I want to sound massive in the rehearsal room or in the on the stage during a gig. But wouldn't be this channel if we wouldn't try out something else, would it? So therefore, I have my friend Oliver here. Oliver, say hello. Hello. Thank you, Oliver. Oliver's from Brazil, and he was kind enough to jam with us a bit, and but we need some preparations because Oliver is a little bit of a diva. So with our amps we actually need to disengage the boost because Oliver will boost the shit out of those amps. Also keep in mind that the this particular amp model isn't built to sound good with a chainsaw sound, so therefore, well, let's find out. So here's our sound. And now, chainsaw time. Everything on max, gain on 0. Maybe cranking it a bit further on. Thank you, Oliver. Thank you guys for watching. This was my tutorial on how to dial in a massive rhythm guitar sound. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this. Have you ever done something like this? If so, how? And well, do you want to see more tutorials? I basically have a tutorial in mind where I show you how to get a huge studio sound. But I think I'll need 100 likes for it. Yeah. Then I will do a video. So with this said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. May the force be with you and have a nice day.